The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the individual guests and hosts and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the podcast. All content provided on this podcast is for informational, educational, and most importantly, entertainment purposes only.
I will be a rock star. I will be a monster.
Where it happened at? Live from Bedford-Stuyvesant, the livest. Live from Bedford-Stuyvesant, the livest. Where it happened at? Brownfield 718. Sin City, nah. Drill City. It's a dynasty. Thanks to Sean Carter.
Welcome to Live from Bedford-Stuyvesant. I'm in here with Marc Pringle and his son Daniel. It's going to be a different kind of spin tonight. You know, I read his book. It's called Visible Scars, Invisible Pain. I'm in Lounge Studios in Manhattan. I don't really know where to begin with you, sir. So the book was I read it and it was heavy, man. So let us just start from the beginning. Just tell everyone who you are and where you're from.
My name is Marc Pringle, born in the Bronx, New York. And from the Bronx, I moved to Astoria Projects in Queens. And then periodically, there was a time when I was going back and forth from Astoria Projects in Queens to East New York to Brooklyn to my grandmother's house. And so I would go over there on weekends and spend time out there with her. And then in the weekdays, I would be in Astoria. So it was a time where I was just going back and forth between East New York and Astoria in the 80s, in the late 80s.
Gotcha.
You know, and so basically I came up like 25 years in Astoria, like hard years, you know, where I started learning some things and got introduced to some things. And then in East New York, when I used to go to Brooklyn as a like a haven, like to get away from my mother, I would go to my grandmother's house. And then East New York back in the 80s was crazy. Right. You know, so that was during the height of the crack pandemic, epidemic, whatever you want to call it. And I was running around. I was running around in East New York over there with those guys, and then I would go to Queens, and it was just two different approaches in terms of the streets. Well, when you talk about the person from the streets, I was in my mind I was gangster. You know what I mean? And I left the house at a very young age, trying to find freedom. But before we get to that part, you know, in dealing with the book, you know, I named it Visible Scars, Invisible Pain, because, you know, a lot of times you can see, like if I got a scar on my body from when I got shot, and I got shot back in 2001 or something like that.
So is this the mark right here on your stomach?
Yeah, and that's the mark there on my stomach from the book. And so as you see, that scar is visible. But when I said invisible pain, I was talking about the mental and emotional pain from traumatic situations that we've been through in life. And you can't see that. You can see it act out, you know what I'm saying, in terms of how an individual behaves, but you don't understand the root cause of it.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And so before I got to the streets, I was sexually violated at 5 years old, coming up in the Bronx. You know what I mean? And at that age, I was born in 1966. Right. And so at that age, I never knew what sex was about. I didn't know about sex or whatever. Grown-ups didn't talk around children. A child stayed in a child's place. And so when I was sexually violated, I never understood what that was. Because of what happened to me when I was young, I came up with the mindset that, before anybody else violate me, I'm going to do the violating. You know what I'm saying? And so that was my approach to the streets. And so when I was in the streets, I wasn't trying to be fly. I wasn't trying to buy no clothes and look fly and buy jewelry and all that. I was looking for freedom.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? I was looking for a freedom to do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it, without my mother telling me what to do, without school teachers telling me what to do, without any grown up telling me what to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so I was looking for my independence as a person, as a man, and the streets gave me that. You know what I mean? But what I failed to factor in, because my mind didn't work like that at that time, I didn't have all the information that I needed. The streets wasn't really the answer, because it led me to drugs, jail, being shot, you know what I'm saying, shooting people, and that was a whole nother world within itself.
Yeah.
And the deeper I got into it, the more that I understood those other different things, as far as those different situations that started happening to me. Because I thought you just go out there, you just find your lane, and you just get your little bread.
Right.
But then you got the robber that's out there trying to rob people. You got the hustler, you got the swindler, you got the con artist, and you got to find in the streets. You got to find your occupation.
Right.
And so for me, my occupation, yeah, you got to find your occupation.
Literally, occupation is like a job.
It's like a job. Yeah. And so my occupation, I chose.
For nothing, right?
Yeah, my occupation. What I chose to stick people up, because it gave me an opportunity to use violence, and violence for some reason it was comfortable for me, and I didn't know that, because I was acting out because of the sexual violation. That's why I was able to be violent, very violent.
You was known for robbing people.
Yes.
Where did you start off? Was it Queens or Brooklyn?
In Queens, when I started robbing.
I mean, reference to living.
Oh, in the Bronx. I was born in the Bronx.
Born in the Bronx, right?
Born in the Bronx.
And then you made a transition
from the Bronx to Queens, because what happened was, we was living in the Bronx. I was very young.
Right.
I was watching. It used to be the 4:30 movie when we come home from school. That used to come on. And my brother used to like these army pictures. And so one day, me and my little sister was home, and we was watching this war picture.
Right.
And the guy made like a Molotov cocktail bomb or whatever, and he put it in. He put the gasoline in it, put the rag in it, lit it, threw it, and it blew up. So I said, "Wow, I could do that."
Yeah.
And so
you could do that.
Yeah, so I went. I took a juice bottle, I emptied it, and I stuffed it with toilet paper.
I never thought about doing it, like, literally, bro. Like,
I took all the toilet paper.
You watched so much MASH, bro.
MASH. I think that's what I was watching too, MASH.
Yeah.
So I stuffed the water bottle with the toilet paper,
right.
And then I lit it. And I was chasing my sister around the house playing with it. Oh, I got the bomb. And I threw it, and it rolled under the bed. And back then, in those days, the box spring was real cheap. You know what I'm saying? And they had that like cheap cotton up under it.
Right.
And so the thing rolled up under the bed. So I'm still messing with my sister and all that. Then I bent down to go up under the bed and get it, and the bottom of the bed was on fire.
My.
So I told my sister, "Oh, what's the fire?" So she was like, "Oh." And so we looked. So I run and I get a cup of water.
Right.
And was trying to throw the cup of water on the thing, and it was just getting bigger and bigger. And next thing you know, the thing just and the bed just went on fire.
How, like, when you do something and then you see it, and then you know that you done messed up.
Yeah.
Like, how was that feeling? Like,
man, I was frightened, man, because I knew I was gonna get my butt beat.
Right.
Because my mother didn't play, but my mother wasn't home, and so now I grabbed my sister because the bed just went up in flames.
Was you in fear? You were scared? I mean, how?
I was, yeah. Look, we ran outside. Now, remember back in the days, you could go outside and pull the fire alarm thing.
Right.
It was the little boxes.
Yeah.
So we ran outside. I ain't got no shoes on, no shirt. Me and my little sister, I go outside, I pull the fire alarm, and then we just standing out there.
Okay.
And by the time the fire department got there, I burnt the crib down.
You burned the crib down?
The crib burned down.
So you was living, is this the PJs or a house?
No, it was in tenement buildings in the Bronx on 166 and Park Avenue.
So they burned the whole thing inside?
Burnt the apartment down, and so we got placed.
Why do boys like to play with fire? Man, I was playing with fire too when I was a kid.
You know, that's how it is. But we wound up going to a welfare hotel on the Grand Concourse by Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
And then from there, they gave my mother the apartment in Queens. That's how we got to Queens.
Got you. That's how you made the transition. You burned the stuff down. Huh?
Yeah, that's how we got to Queens.
Badass.
That's what it was,
so
man.
Where did you land in Queens?
We landed in Astoria Projects.
Got you.
And so, when we landed in the projects, it was like coming from a tenement building to projects, it was like a whole new world for me.
Right.
So, you got all the buildings, the different buildings, and this and that, or whatever, and all that. So I had to navigate my way through that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? In terms of that project setting stuff, like, you know what I mean? And so that was a whole new world within itself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? In terms of the projects and just trying to get acclimated with that. But the thing I liked about the projects was, and when I was in the Bronx, my mother used to say, because I was like 5 or whatever, 7 years old or whatever, and I used to only could go to the corner, you know, or across the street.
Yeah, I couldn't even go around. I couldn't even go around the corner.
Yeah, I couldn't go around the corner. I could go to the corner.
Couldn't go around the corner.
Yeah, I couldn't go around the corner. I could go to the corner. And so, when I got to the projects, you got more play. More room to move around because it's big. You can move around, so it ain't no. So my mother used to be, stay in front of the building. It's like, yo, like I could go over this building, because I'm not off the block, literally, or get lost. You know what I'm saying?
So you do get lost in the pieces.
Yeah, when you first move around there, you don't know the buildings like that.
Saying tag and the hallways, the stairs. Yeah.
But I had people in my building and all that. One of the brothers. In my building, the first guy that I had a fight with, and actually really wasn't a fight because he punched me in the face. I wasn't really ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I ran upstairs and told his moms and all that. And then me and him became the best of friends.
Mm-hmm.
And he used to run me around and just show me the ropes and stuff like that. So I came up under somebody, like, you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
In terms of that.
It's always good to have a roadie somewhere, man.
Yeah.
Meet somebody, right?
Yeah. So, and then he was the guy that when I first robbed, he took me on my very first robbery.
Oh, yeah.
He took me on my very first rob because he was a thief. He liked to steal.
Right.
We would go to the store and he would steal chips and do this and do that. And
and me, I was doing the same thing.
Yeah, me too.
Chips and Little Debbie's, and I was juxing. I was going to the store stealing. I'm not gonna lie, I was doing. Yeah.
So he one day he came to me and he said, "Yo, man, I seen this dude cash a check. He got mad money."
Right.
So I said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, I'm gonna clock the dude and we gonna rob him."
How old are you guys?
We was 15. Yeah, we 15.
Got you. Mm-hmm.
So I said, well, let's see the guy. So one Friday, sure enough, he takes me over to the Goodwill building and we follow the guy. The guy comes out. He said, yo, there you go right there. So we follow him to the check cashing place and we see the money. I said, yeah, he got money. So I said, yeah, we getting him. We're going to get him. And so we didn't get him that day. We was just I just wanted to see that the guy had money. And so the next Friday, we went to rob the dude, and I thought it was going to be easy. I never robbed nobody before. He was like, yo, I'm going to yoke him. When I yoke him, just go in his pocket and get the money. Yeah. So I said, okay, that sounds simple. But it wasn't.
Right.
And what I learned
How big was this guy? He was bigger than y'all guys? Or?
Well, he was older than us.
Gotcha.
We was 15 or whatever. He was a grown man. You know what I'm saying?
So that was shorter and he was bigger.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so my man jumped up, put him in the yoke, and I was trying to take it. But he grabbed the money and he had this death grip on the pocket. And I couldn't get the money.
So he worked hard.
So we fighting. So now we beating the dude up. Now we putting hands on him. We fighting and we beating him up. And he wouldn't let the money go. So now we both beating him up. And we finally got him to loose the money. We got the money out of his pocket. We ran. And it was 2 things that happened that day. Number one, I knew that when you're taking something from somebody, it's not going to be easy as you think it's going to be. And number 2, I liked it that.
Gotcha.
I enjoyed doing that, like that robbing thing.
Let me ask you a question about robberies and stuff like that. Do you feel any guilt afterwards?
Nah, guilt? Nah.
You feel no guilt?
Nah. Because that's where I was at, my state of mind. And that was the life that I was living. People, it's choices, right? And some people get up in the morning, they had a 9 to 5, and I got up in the morning and I robbed. And that was my job. That's what I did. So it wasn't no guilt. I was doing my job.
So at what age did you experience the situation?
5. I was about 5.
And because you're a 5-year-old boy and you're out and about and you're with your friends and all of a sudden you're somewhere else.
Yes. Yeah, so my mother was very strict about us going outside. Like, you know what I'm saying? You had to do your chores, do your homework or whatever and all that before you could go outside. On this particular day, I seen everybody outside because our window was in the front. Right. So I would look out, I seen the kids out. So I called my mother at work and I was like, Mommy, I want to go outside because, such and such is out there. So she would never let me, it was always a grown up in front of the building. And so, back in those days, it was like the neighborhood was like family. So if whoever grown up was out there, they was responsible for all the other kids that was outside. They would look out for us.
She was comfortable with
me. If certain people was out there, go ahead.
But she was nowhere around.
She was nowhere around. She was at work.
So she trusted everybody to watch you.
I told her, yo, such and such is out there. This one is out there. And she said, okay, well, go ahead. You could go out, but you got to be back up before she said, matter of fact, she said you could go out for 2 hours.
That's a huge amount of trust for 5 years old.
Yeah. She said you could go out for 2 hours, right? So I go in front of the building. I'm playing with some other kids. And one of my neighbor's son called me. He was one of the grown-ups that was out there. Mm-hmm. And so he called me to the building. And he said, yo, listen, I'm going to bring you upstairs and give you a snack. But I really didn't want to, I didn't really want the snack because I only had 2 hours to play. But back in those days, you listen to your elders. Right. There's no talking back, no nothing. If that's what it is, that's what it is. Yeah. So I'm like, all right. But I was trying to get away from it by saying, oh, I ain't want to eat. And he said, no, come on. He takes me upstairs. He makes a peanut butter jelly sandwich and a juice. So he gives it to me. And then he goes in the bedroom, and then he comes back with a pillow. And he throws it on the floor. And then he tells me, he said, yo, take your pants off. So I'm like, take my pants off? But I'm a kid. Yeah. So I don't understand, you know what I'm saying? But I know he's a grown-up, so I got to listen. So I took my pants off, and then he like, yo, lay down on the pillow. Yeah. And he was like, yo, you better not tell nobody, whatever, that you was up here with me and all that. So he started threatening me. So now I'm getting scared because I'm like, okay, what's going on? Mm-hmm. I know whatever's about to happen, whatever's going on, it ain't right because why is he saying this to me? Right. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so he went on to sexually violate me. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? He sexually violated me. And then after he was done, I put my pants up with him and he grabbed me and he was like, yo, you better not tell nobody or else I'm going to kill you. So I'm looking at him. So I'm like, okay, but I'm scared, but I don't know what's going on though. Because I don't understand what just happened because I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing about sex. Right. I'm a kid. Right. And so he brings me back outside to play, but now I don't want to play no more because I know that something just happened, but I don't know in my mind what happened. So I'm there and I'm just out there and I'm in my mind, I'm just saying like, yo, like, what was that?
You're going at this point.
Yeah. I'm like, yo, what was that? Like, what was that? And so now, my mother didn't play about her kids. My mother would get violent when it come to her kids, you know. But when my mother came home from work that day, I was in my bedroom and I'm laying in the bed and I wanted to tell my mother, but I don't know what to tell her because I don't know what happened in terms of it was a sexual violation. I don't know. I don't have this information.
So, how does it feel to want to tell your mother something? Because I'm pretty sure you was very you talk to your mother about everything.
Well, not about everything, but I know that my mother ain't play about her kids.
I'm just saying, though.
You know what I'm saying?
Do you have some information that you want to tell her?
No, but I didn't know what the thing that didn't stop. I didn't have the information because I didn't know. Like, I can't say, yo, mom, this dude just sexually violated me because I didn't know what that was.
But you feel, I'm saying,
I know it was wrong.
Soul, you feel.
Yeah, but the thing that stuck me also was the way that he threatened me. And he grabbed me and he was like, yo, you better not tell nobody else I'm going to kill you. So now I'm wrestling with that, but I know my mom's will get busy, but I'm saying, but then he said he going to kill me. So I'm between a rock and a hard space and I don't know what to do. And then I didn't have the information to say that, yo, this is what happened. So that night, so that night I was just up and I didn't sleep. Right. And it was like, I want to tell my mother and I'm like, but like, what do I tell her? Like, oh, yo, he threatened me. Like, because I knew that part, you know what I'm saying? As far as like, I knew that he threatened me when he said that he'll kill me. I'm like, okay, he's threatening my life, but why? Like, why? Let me tell you something. It took me to when I was 13, when I moved to Queens. I didn't know what happened to me and understand it until I was 13 and living in Queens. Now, I was in junior high school, I believe. And it was this gentleman in my class, and he would act feminine, like a girl. Mm-hmm. So I used to ask the other kid, like, yo, wow, what's wrong with him? Like, why he acting like that? Mm-hmm. And so one of the dudes said, yo, he's gay. And I said, gay? So, I wanted to be cool, so I ain't want him to know that I didn't know what that was. Right. But my mother, whenever we would read a book or we came across a word we didn't know, my mother had this big dictionary on the table, and she would tell you, stop, look up the word, write it out, and then you continue reading. So I ran home and I went to the dictionary and I looked up the word gay and it said to be happy. And I was like, so now I'm confused Because I'm like, to be gay is to be happy. He ain't happy because we tease and bother him every day.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back to school the next day and I told the guy that told me that, I said, yo, man, I said, he not gay.
Mm-hmm.
He said, what you mean? Yeah, he is a gay.
Mm-hmm.
So now he hit me with another word.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, no, to be gay means to be happy. He said, no, he.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, what's up? Right? So I said, yo, I asked him, instead of me going to look that word up, I said, what's up? He said, yo, he a homosexual. So now I definitely don't know what that is. You know what I'm saying? So I go home and I look up the word homosexual, and it said when a man indulges in sexual activities with another man.
Mm-hmm.
And boom, that's when it hit me like, oh, that's what this dude was. Oh, he sexually violated me. Mm-hmm. That's when I came to the understanding of what happened to me. Now, I was 5 when that happened. I didn't come to the understanding until I was like 13, 12.
So during the course of the time from 5 to 13, did it leave your mind?
I kind of just buried it in my. After a while, I just buried it in my mind. But when I seen that dude acting like that, and I came across that word, it came back. Mm-hmm. And then once it came back, I was like, oh, he violated me.
So
so
you never told your mother?
No, never told nobody.
So that day when you laid in the bed thinking he said he would kill you,
yeah,
and you wanted to tell your mother, you never told her.
I never told her 'cause I didn't know what to tell her. I didn't know what to tell her.
So you just left it alone.
I just left it, and because I was in fear of the fact that he said he was going to kill me, but I know that my mother would protect me if I told her. But I didn't know what to tell her. Like, you know what I'm saying?
So as a kid,
I just ate it.
Left your mind,
And it was in my subconscious because it really never leaves you. Mm-hmm. So that's where the invisible pain come from.
Right.
When you living with that trauma, and so now what I did was, once I came to that understanding, I said, you know what? Okay, now I'm going to start violating people, but not sexually. And that's where the violence came in. You know what I mean?
Let's go back a little bit because, another reason why this thing touched me a little hard, I never had an SA situation. But, with the, human trafficking and stuff like that, it was like a commercial, like, on Facebook or Instagram, whatever which one, that's like the new TV. Mm-hmm. And it showed kids like a commercial about, child trafficking, not human trafficking. Mm-hmm. And, they setting up these kids, leaving them in rooms and, closing the shades, and some adult walks in. And, and I was really disturbed. Like seeing this. When I was young, I never told nobody this publicly, but, my relationships and ladies that I talked to, I told them. It was a man, he was like a preacher. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So, we have to start realizing that, just because we boys doesn't to be males that we not in danger. Mm-hmm. So people seem to think because, we boys, they don't have to worry about us like that. But that's not the truth. So anyway, it was a preacher coming around the neighborhood. I'm from Bedford-Stuyvesant. I'm from Brooklyn. I used to live on Lewis and Halsey. And I was a little handsome little dude, hazel eyes, light skin and all that. Nevertheless, he used to come around the neighborhood. I don't know how I met the dude, but he used to talk to me. You know what I'm saying? But I never really thought nothing about it, but I did think something about it. You know what I'm saying? I think I might have been 7 or 8 years old, somewhere around there. And I used to get in his car and talk to him. You know what I'm saying? I used to talk to him. He used to give me money. I used to get in his car and talk to him and stuff like that. I kind of knew what he was about, but he never pushed the issue. And when I got the car, my homies is always there. They'd be like, "Yo, give me money." I'm like, "Yeah, we can go get something. We gonna do with the money, right?" But it never escalated because he never made. And I think in my mind, I would not never let it escalate because I felt like in my mind that he was a pervert. And I think he knew that I knew that. I just was playing with him. So you're gonna give me $50? Cool. You got that money? But in my mind, if you ever would have did something, or no, me and my would have beat the shit. Yeah. We was young, but that was the motion. Yeah. But I wasn't old enough to know that. But you could feel a weirdo.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You feel a weirdo. So what I'm saying is that, your book struck a huge conversation with a few people that I talked to, women and stuff like that. And I know a few women that I've talked to throughout my life that have been, situations with the SA situation. And not saying it's a common thing with women, but I hear that more so with the ladies. But what we don't hear about, and we don't try to address, and we don't try to comprehend, and we don't try to, really understand, is that there are boys out here that I can admit. What if I was really naive? I could probably he probably would have violated. He was a predator.
Yes.
I never knew to report him.
Yes.
Nobody ever educated me and told me what to do if I come across this gentleman.
Yes.
Or if nobody ever told me nothing like that. But they do that with the girls.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why this book really struck a chord and made me really think about the predicament that these young kids, especially young boys, can be in. So from 5 years old to 13, when you made the decision to become violent, why do you think? Did you just automatically snap into that?
No, when I did the first robbery and we had to use violence that day, it felt good to me.
I'm talking about, but you said at 13 you found that you.
Yeah, but at 15 is when I started robbing. But at 13, when I came to the knowledge, I made the decision I'm going to violate now. Okay, I got violated. Right. I'm going to start violating.
So you just said that was in your mind.
That was in my mind. So when the robbery took place, that was me violating somebody for the first time, as far as taking something that they worked for.
So it took 2 years for you to actually
to act out, to really start putting it in play. To put it in play. But once I put it in play, it felt good. Like that it was something about using that violence. Like, wow.
That's another question I'm gonna ask you. Why does violence feel good?
Because it's get back. See what I'm saying? When you trying to get back at somebody else that violated you. You know how they say it's misguided anger? I could be angry at one situation, then the next person come along and I'll explode on them, but it really wasn't them that I was angry about. It was the situation that I was in prior to them stepping up. It's just that they just got the anger release of it. So it's misguided anger. So that's what I did. I misguided my anger and the fact that I was hurt and mad at the fact that the dude did, because one of the things that really bothered me is that my mother trusted this dude to be around our family. His mother and my mother was very good friends. Like their family and our family lived next door to each other, and it was like they was like all extended family. So it was like the thing that really baffled me.
Another reason why he was able to give a peanut butter jelly sandwich.
But that's why I was like, yo, this dude was like family, like somebody that my mom's trusted to be around. You violated, you violated, and you're a grown man. So when I came to that knowledge, I was like, yo, nobody's to be trusted, and I'm violating whoever. Anybody could get it. Straight like that.
So at 15 was your first robbery?
Yes.
That's when you said it felt good.
It felt good. And I knew that's what I wanted to do.
But you didn't just rob him.
We beat him up.
You beat him up.
Yeah, but that was the violence. And us assaulting him.
Right.
And that's what was the thing that felt good. When we assaulted him.
Get the anger off.
Right. But I didn't know that the root cause was the sexual violation that I was acting out of. You know what I'm saying?
From 13 to 15, and when you robbed the guy and you assaulted him, when you was 15, did you feel like, was that like the point where you just feel like you just blew off the...
Well, here's the thing. Before that, it was a couple of things in the book that I wrote about, and one of them was the television show Roots.
Yeah.
When Roots came out, my mother made us watch it. My mother said, listen, there's a show coming on. I want y'all to see this show. Mm-hmm. So she would make me and my sisters and brothers, she sat us down and we watched it. And when I watched Alex Haley's television show Roots, it was on for 1 week every day. And when I seen the depiction of slavery and how we was treated, I was so angry.
That Alex Haley's Roots was very traumatizing.
I was so angry because it's one thing to hear about it, but when I seen it depicted and I saw it, black people getting hung and getting beat and the way they did us, and then my thing was like, why y'all did that to us?
Right.
Right? And so for me, the movie didn't answer the why.
Right.
So now when I went to school, I ain't have no respect for white teachers.
Right.
Like I didn't want them teaching me. I'm like, yo, you can't tell me nothing. Like, look, you violated us.
Right.
And you standing here talking about you my teacher?
Right.
So I left, I flunked out of school. I started getting in trouble in school. And then one of the incidents behind that was my mom's beat the shit out of me, man, one time, man, because the teacher called her job.
Right.
I was acting up at school. The teacher called her job, and like to my mother, that's a no-no. Your teacher calling her job.
Right.
So my mother came home, man, and she didn't say nothing. But I knew I was going to get a beating. But she played it off. She boom came in, didn't say nothing, went in her room. So I'm in my bedroom just waiting for the beating. Mm-hmm. And nothing happened that night. I was scared to go to bed because I'm like, I know she's gonna beat me.
Yeah.
And the next morning, I slept in bunk beds. The next morning, my mother came in when it was time for me to go to school. Yo, snatched the covers off me and had an extension cord. And she was like, yeah, your teacher called my school. Yo, get out the bed. So I'm like, damn. I'm like, here it go. So when I jumped down off the bunk bed, yo, she got to whipping me with the extension cord. And I didn't see the extension cord at first because she had like behind her leg. Man, she started hitting me with that cord, man. And it was the look on her face. Mm-hmm. And she beat me like I wasn't her child. Like I just was looking at her face. And it was like she was like really trying to like kill me, like really hurt me. And I'm looking at her and I'm trying to catch it and stop it. She tore me up. Mm-hmm. And then she made me get dressed and sent me to school. And I went to school that day and I was in so much pain. Mm-hmm. And I was hurt that my mother beat me like that, like with that extension cord. Mm-hmm. And
you mentioned that it was very severe, right?
Very severe. Right. I was in the school, my legs was burning, right? And so I'm in the class, and I used to be like the class clown and get on everybody and this and that. So that day, and that particular day I was in the class, I had my head down, I'm crying. Mm-hmm. So my homeroom teacher realized that, no, he's not the same. And so she came and she said, you all right? And I said, no, I'm going to be all right. And she said, I've never seen you like this before. And I was like, just give me some time. Like, I just need some time. Like, don't bother me. So she said, all right. So she told the class, yo, listen, Mr. Pringle don't feel good. Mark don't feel good. Just leave him alone. Nobody mess with him. But now as I'm sitting there, I'm in pain. Mm-hmm. My legs is burning. So I'm crying, but I don't want nobody to cry. I'm trying to keep in the sniffles because I don't want them to know I'm crying. But I'm crying on my desk because I'm in so much pain. Mm-hmm. And so I just asked for the pass and I go to the bathroom and I went to the bathroom, man, and I went in this bathroom store and I pulled down my pants and I was horrified at what I saw, man. Mm-hmm. My legs was black and blue. And I was bleeding. She ripped some skin off. The extension cord had ripped some skin off my leg. My leg was bleeding. I had a scab on my leg where I could see my flesh. Mm-hmm. And I looked and I said, wow, man, my mom sent me to school like this. She don't love me. Mm-hmm. And I cried this bitter, bitter cry in the bathroom, man, for like 40 minutes, 20 minutes or so. Mm. But all I kept saying was, Dad, my moms don't love me. My moms don't love me. Mm. And that thing really broke me, like, it broke me, you know what I'm saying? And I was walking home that day. I didn't want to go home. And I was walking from school that day and I was like, yo, where can I go? I don't want to live with that lady. Where can I go? And I couldn't figure it out. And I said, damn, I don't know where to go. So I went back home, but I didn't want to be there no more. Mm. I didn't want to be there, man. And I ran away like that weekend. And I ran to the train station. And I ain't have nowhere to go. I stayed at the train station. And I didn't have nowhere to go. And I had to go. I went back home. And my mom's, I snuck out the crib and ran away. When I came back, my mom's had locked the door and seen that I went out. When I came back, I had to knock on the door to get back in. And when I knocked on the door, she opened up the door and she said, where you went? And I said, I ran away. And she just looked at me, closed the door, locked it, and just went in her room. And I went in my room and went to bed. But I just kept thinking, like, where can I run away? All I kept thinking about, where can I go? Because I didn't want to be there. And I ran away. I went to my grandmother's house in East New York, Brooklyn. I said, oh, I remembered how to get to her house. I said, I know where I could go. I'm going to Brooklyn. I went to East New York, Brooklyn. My grandmother lived on Hendricks between Pickett and Belmont. I used to get off at Van Sicklen. Mm. And I started going.
When you ran away? At this time, when you said you.
That was a little bit before I started robbing. So like 14. Mm-hmm. It was like 14. And then I stayed with my grandmother for that weekend. So when Sunday came, my grandmother was like, "Oh, ain't it time for you to go home because you got school?" And I'm like, "Nah, I don't got to go to school because I didn't want to go back home." So then my grandmother was like, "Nah, something ain't right." So she called my mother, and she was like, "Do Mark got to go to school?" So my mother was like, "Why? You know where Mark at?" So my grandmother said, "Yeah, Mark is here." So my mother was like, "Oh, we've been looking for him. He ran away." So my grandmother said, "Oh, he ran away." So now I'm there. I'm in the living room. I'm here. I'm talking. So I'm like, so now I'm mad now because I'm like, damn. See, they found me. So my grandmother sat me down and she said, "Listen, since you know your way over here, you could come over here every weekend. Just go back home, go to school for the week, and on the weekends you come over here." And that's when I started going to East New York, like for the weekends. You know what I'm saying? My grandmother gave me that outlet. You know what I mean? But a little bit after that, that's when the robbery started because I didn't want nothing from my mother no more. Like I don't want her to buy me nothing. I don't want you to give me nothing. Like I just didn't. I ain't want nothing from her because I wanted her love.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
The reason because that parallels, I'm like, sometimes you meet people that I did the same thing, brother. Like my mother, she terrified me too through a lot of physical violence, and I ran away to my grandmother's house.
Yeah.
And my grandmother opened her doors, and I started living with her. So that's like an ironic story you're telling me. That's why I was like, with age. But do you think that your mother, you think there was something deeper than
Yes.
that?
Well, I learned before my mother passed away, I got a chance to really talk with her, and she apologized to me for the way she treated all of us, not just me, my sisters and brothers too. And what I didn't know was because there was a time when my moms had disappeared like for a week, but we was a little shorty and nobody told us. But my mother had a mental breakdown, and so my mother suffered from being bipolar. And she had something else, but she had mental disorders that was real, and we didn't know. I'm a little shorty, and when I came up, kids stay out of grown folk business. So when my mother would disappear for a week, the neighbors would step in and look out for us and take care of us and hold us down. And then my grandmother would come and send for us, and we'd be over there, but nobody would tell us why our moms is gone for a week or two.
But that's community.
Yeah.
That's real community.
Yeah. They would step in and we never missed a beat. Ate, went to school, but we like, "Dad, where mommy?" But nobody would say nothing. They just held it down for her. But she had a mental breakdown and she was in a mental institution for like 2 weeks, man. So before she passed away, she explained to me, I was bipolar and I was this and that. And I was like, wow. Like for me, it was like, oh, now I understand why you were so violent with us and so every little thing you just wilding on us, like, you know what I'm saying? And beating us with brooms and bats and extension cords, like, and I'm like, what is this about? So in the end, I was able to forgive her. She said, I did the best that I could, blah, blah, blah. And I said, you know what? I understand now. I forgive you.
I have to make a confession on my end, man. It's crazy. Like, you tell us, like, in reference to that, the same things with my mother that I didn't find out till after she died, like when she had a mental issue. I never knew.
Yeah.
You don't ever know what people, like you said, like,
yes.
You don't ever know what the root is to what a person does.
Yes. And that's why I wrote that book. And, and that's why, with my son here today, it was important for me when I wrote the book to give my sons and them, because, my son hear about my reputation. My sons, they hear about my reputation in the street. Your father ill, your father this, your father that. But I wanted them to know, nah, it was a reason. It was a root cause to that. It wasn't just I was wilding. It was I was acting out. You know what I'm saying? And so
that's very, very important. That's very important to know, because a lot of people see us as just criminals.
Yeah.
No reason for it.
Yeah. You know what? When I was on my last bid in the penitentiary.
I don't mean that us. Like, I mean the
black man. The black man. Yeah. But we got to understand something, right? And and a lot of times, a lot of people like to diminish it because they feel like we've come so far and we've made great advances. And no, we have, but we still behind because we had our culture stripping from us, our identity in terms of who we are as a cultural people, and so then we was conditioned to work against one another. You know what I'm saying? The house field, which Malcolm X spoke about and so eloquently identified.
Black Rage too.
Black Rage.
Right?
You got a story. You got a book by Naeem Akbar called the psychological images of slavery, and the book is about this big, but it's a very powerful book because it tells you how till still this day we suffer from slavery and what we've been through.
Right.
See, we got to understand that things is passed through our bloodline, through the DNA. See what I'm saying? And so if your father was a warrior and your mom was a no nonsense, you're going to inherit that warrior spirit. Like, you know what I'm saying? And some people they from a lineage of cowards, whereas though they bowed down and they didn't fight and they don't have that grit in them. And so, you'll see some dudes not have that toughness about them. And everything ain't about being tough. It's about being understanding, because that's tough. Being able to understand, you know what I mean? So you
in the streets now at 13, I'm 15, you did this robbery and you beat this man senseless, took his money, didn't give a
yeah.
What happens after that?
Well, after the initial robbery, because that was my first robbery, I was scared. I'm thinking all the police in the world is looking for me because it was my first robbery, and I'm thinking that they know. So I'm seeing the police, I'm nervous, but when I seen they wasn't looking for me, and it wasn't no thing. I'm like, oh, I got away with that. And so now it's intriguing to me now. Okay, let me do another one. But now back in those days, the thing was snatching chains and pocketbooks. See what I'm saying? Snatching jewelry. Yeah. So I used to go to the train station by myself. And when you go to the train station in Astoria, the hood is the projects, but once you go outside of the projects, you in white people area. Like, once you get out the projects, that's all white.
Yeah.
So I would go up to the train station and snatch jewelry from the white people. And I was a very fast runner. So for me, it was like a challenge, like, you got to make it back to the hood, because once I get back to the hood, they can't catch me.
Right.
So I would go up to the train station, see somebody get off the train, spot them, all right, boom, and follow them, and then snatch their chain, and then run back to the projects.
So you just doing this autonomously, with nobody else, just you out.
Yeah, by myself. By myself. So, and then I started snatching pocketbooks. Then one day I snatched a pocketbook.
Coming back to the projects, what are people saying about you in these projects as you doing?
Well, the projects was wild. Like, people just used to see me come running in and see the police chasing me, and they used to be like, Dad, what he did? And then once they seen it was a regular thing, then they knew my MO, and they like, okay, then he don't went rob somebody. Because then they figured it out. Okay, Mark going to rob, he be going to rob people.
It's crazy. That's crazy to be in that kind of environment.
Yeah.
Like, he robs people.
Yeah.
Another chain, or he just robbed somebody.
Yeah, he just robbed somebody. So I used to be flying by, and the police be chasing me, and they be like, there you go. We done robbed somebody again. So that was like the beginning of my reputation, like, build up, like, where people just like, yo, all right, this dude be robbing people. You know what I'm saying? And then you doing the drugs. I'm doing drugs. We a little shorty. We drinking. We used to do this thing called a Boilermaker, and we used to take the Wild Irish Rose in the Old English.
This is the 80s still?
In the 80s still.
Right.
And we get the Old English, the 40 Old English, drink a little bit down, take the Wild Irish Rose and pour it in the Old English. And we call it the Boilermaker. And we used to drink that and get drunk and same thing, man. But my thing was raw. Everybody used to be selling weed. And I tried that. I sold drugs. I sold weed. I sold coke. I sold dope. I tried that, but that wasn't my thing. Because when you do those hustles, you had to depend on somebody else. Like, you standing around waiting for somebody to come to buy from you. Like, and so now if you got 30 people on the block and everybody got weed and 2 people come, if they don't pick your stuff out of the other 30 people that's trying to sell weed, then you know what I'm saying, you don't get that sale. So for me, I didn't like that, because it's like I'm dependent on somebody else to come and buy my stuff. So I kind of got bored with selling drugs real quick. Like, it was like, nah, I can't be sitting around waiting for somebody. So I wanted to go out and get mine. So that's what, like, so I used to be like robbing, like, you get right to it.
So, with anything, there comes a succession. Like, there comes a point where you on another level with it.
Yeah.
So you went from chain snatching to doing what?
From chain snatching, I went to strong arm robbery. And then from strong arm robbery, I went to sticking up with the pistol. Because now I start robbing drug dealers, stores, number spots, like anything, everything. I used to take cabs, rob them, get a cab. Yo, take me over here. They get over there, boom, stick them, rob them, take the
Wake
cab.
up in the morning, go out and rob somebody.
Every day. That was my job.
Come home, go to sleep.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Nah, run the streets all night.
Like that, go to sleep.
And wake up and then be like, when I come out in the morning, that's like, all right, home I robbed today.
So you mentioned something in your book that was interesting that you said. You said one of your first robberies, you went home and you told your mother.
Yeah, that was when we robbed the man. My very first robbery.
And what did she say?
And she didn't say, she was like, so you could pay your rent now. And she said, you could pay your rent now and don't call me when you get arrested. But she never told me not to do it.
But she took the money from you.
She took the money from me. I gave her like $40 because I bought some La Tiger jeans, and I bought a pair of Adidas. I bought a pair of black and white Adidas, 2 pair of Lee's jeans, and a Tiger shirt. And I came in with the bags. She said, where you get money from? I said, nah, you know. She said, nah, I don't know. I'm asking you. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
So I'm like, nah, like, you know, and the neighbor.
You don't know because you ain't got a job.
Yeah. But my next door neighbor, God bless her dead, Barbara Wilson, she was mad cool. And she told my mother, oh, leave that boy alone. He doing his thing. Leave him alone. He a boy. So my mother said, all right. Yeah, you right. So she said, you got more money? And I said, wow, what's up? She said, yeah, well, you can start paying your own way now.
You know, I find that interesting now as I was reading. I told you I didn't read the book. I had somebody read it out loud because I was busy doing something, but I was listening to it. And there was a woman reading the book. And I find it interesting that, you know, a mother who's a woman can see that her son is making a living. Not in a legal way, but he's able to come. He's out there doing something.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, she low-key supported that.
She didn't. My thing was she didn't say stop doing it.
She just realized that you was out there being a man in these streets.
I think that it was the influence of the next door neighbor when she said leave him alone, because my mother was questioning me.
But your mother,
where did you get that from?
I can see your mother's very stern. And she's very secure on herself. Yeah. I just see that as two black women understanding the dynamics of where you're from and what the situations are, the environment you're in, and this is what these men are doing out here to provide for themselves and provide for their families. Yes. And you gonna be now you can pay your rent.
Yeah, that's why the neighbor said when the neighbor told her, "Yo, leave him alone. He doing his thing." Then she switched her conversation from where you get that money from. Then, all right, you got more money?
Well, it's better than coming home and not having any money.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's condoning robbery. But the environments that, especially in that time, because that's what it was. Brooklyn dudes, we was in Queens, though, right?
And East New York, but I learned my robbery game from East New York.
Because Brooklyn is known for robbery.
Listen, it's a whole nother level in Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, you rob your man. Like, if he can't hold it, in Brooklyn, the rules was this: if you can't hold that, protect yourself from me taking that. I'm taking that.
So, you from the Bronx to Queens, you in East New York, the most notorious place in poverty.
You got Brownsville this way. Cypress that way, Pink Houses that way, and Linden Boulevard, Linden Plaza, and all that the other way. So that whole East New York section was I was just running up and down that whole joint.
That's crazy. I didn't know that, brother, about you. So Marc Pringle was out in the East like that.
Yeah, I was in the East.
Let me ask you a question. So with Brooklyn, Queens, and the Bronx, what area? Because I'm a borough dude to the degree. Whatever you feel like is the most official.
The most of what?
Official.
Official in terms of what though? What do you identify as being official?
Official to make you as manly, to make you to make you who you are as a person that you are today.
I think that I like the dynamics of the Bronx. The Bronx was very diversified in terms of Spanish, Jamaican, Italian, like. You walk 2 blocks down, you got a little Jamaican area. You walk over here, you got the Italians, but everybody was just in that like a melting pot thing. In Queens, it was more just the hood, like the blacks was in the projects, the whites was up there. But in Queens, they was hustlers more so. Because when I started robbing, I was out of place to them. And I was out of line. Because they looking like, yo, like, what you doing? I'm like, nah, I'm robbing. They're like, nah, but we hustling though. You making the block hot. And I'm like, so what? But in East New York, everything go. Everything go.
Do you feel like you became more of a man in Brooklyn, Queens, or the Bronx?
I don't feel like none of it really made me more of a man. You know what I'm saying? Because that stuff don't make you no man. You know what I'm saying? You could hold your own, yeah, but being a man is someone that take his responsibility in terms of, man, like you know, yourself, your family, and doing it without taking from somebody else.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying?
What I mean by that, I apologize.
Yeah, because
that
didn't make me a man.
I mean the bravado part, because I've been to all the boroughs too, and Brooklyn made me the most fearless.
That's what I got from Brooklyn. For what I learned from Brooklyn catered more to my mindset, because my mindset was that, yo, I don't give a fuck about nobody, because I learned early in the streets that the streets don't love you. So I didn't go to the streets looking for love. I went to the streets to look for freedom. I ain't want nobody telling me what to do. And Brooklyn showed you what the streets was about. If you can't hold yourself down, don't come out in these streets. And straight up, and after 12 o'clock, go upstairs. Because after 12 o'clock, the robbers come out. Yeah, this is when it get violent, like, you know what I'm saying? So for me, I learned like in the streets how to just be 10 toes down in Brooklyn. Like everything goes.
But also you learn a lot of different dynamics on how to deal with different boroughs and different people, different circumstances.
Yeah, but the other borough, if you could survive the drama and the danger in East New York back in the 80s, them other boroughs was nothing, man.
That's what I'm trying
Yeah,
to say.
them other boroughs wasn't nothing, man. Like, you stick out like a sore thumb. Like when I went to Queens, I stuck out like a sore thumb because of the training that I got in East New York. Because they wasn't on that. In East New York, if you cannot hold it down, let me get that.
By the way, this is a live from Bedford-Stuyvesant podcast. I'm from Brooklyn. You know what I mean, so I'm always about my borough, all respect to the other boroughs, stuff like that. So, like I support my borough because I feel like Brooklyn it made me. I mean, I feel like it made me a man in a lot of areas. I feel like Manhattan and Queens. I live in those areas.
Yes.
And again, I was like, I stuck out like a sore thumb too because I was from Brooklyn and I moved way different. But I just feel like that made me a lot more cleverer. I was more clever and my perception was high. I was more alert. I was more militant. And that made me survive, I feel like, longer. And
I believe that all different aspects, like, like I said, Brooklyn for me, it just catered to my violence. Like it gave me the freedom to be violent. It was okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it agreed with my violence. It agreed with my mindset. You know what I'm saying? So when I was in Brooklyn, it was like, yeah, like it's whatever out here. But when I was in Queens, I had to really be easy, like hold back on certain aspects of the violence, because if you get too violent, you going to jail because that's not what they was doing. So it's like, yo, now, like, son, you wilding. Like, I used to hear that all the time. Like, yo, man, you wilding. And it was dudes robbing, but the way that was my job. I did it every day to the point, like, the old ladies in the building, I'd come outside and they'd be looking, they'd be like, there you go. There you go. You know you're ready to do something today. You know you're going to do something. And it was like I was a TV show.
Yeah, I seen that in the book. That's what was so interesting about, reading the book and stuff like that, is that you was robbing everybody, man.
Yeah.
But I've never heard of you.
Because and that's good for me. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't.
Not saying that you're not known.
No, but here's the thing, right? First of all, I don't let nobody call me out my name. You got to call me with my mother's name, Marc Pringle, right? And there's a lot of people know my face, and even in Eastern York, they was calling me Trouble. They never call me Marc Pringle.
Gotcha.
They call me Trouble, and people know my face. But it's dudes right now to this day know me like, yo, that's my man. But if you say, yo, what's his name? They be like, nah, I don't know. And I always try to keep it like that. You know what I'm saying? Because certain things you don't need your name called, and I don't need my name ringing. I need to be able to do what I need to do. See what I'm saying? So I don't want my name ringing. So my name rings to a certain degree, but when it comes to certain things, a lot of people, they don't know the name, but they know the face.
Okay.
They know the face.
So we know Marc Pringle now, for sure.
Yeah.
I do, for sure. So with the level of the robbery game, where did that take you?
It took me to jail.
Okay.
Yeah, it took me to jail. That's where it took me. You know, the freedom that I was looking for, I never found it because I wound up becoming addicted to crack cocaine because I came up in that era. I wound up with a nasty addiction of that, and that led me to drugs. That led me to robbing. All day, and the robberies at some point lead you to jail. But I've been to trial 5 times. I was known to fight my cases because when I used to get arrested, I go right to the law library. As soon as I go and hit any jail, I go right. Where's the law library list? If the law library list is gone when I hit a housing area, I ask for an emergency pass to go to the law library because I got a right to go to the law library.
Right.
And I go right to the law library and I start researching my case. I'm looking for a way out. So when I used to be in prison, I ain't trying to get my name wrong. I'm not trying to be no gay. I'm trying to get out of here.
Right.
And the way to do that is to the law library. So I've been to trial 5 times, I only blew 1 time. And that was the last time that I went to trial.
So during the course of you being inside, there was a counselor you met. What was his name again?
Barlow. Yeah, Mr. Barlow.
What's it? B-A-R-L-O?
B-A-R-L-O.
Right?
Barlow, yeah.
So you met Mr. Barlow at what
Rikers Island, C-73, SED program, drug program.
What program was this he was in?
That was a drug program in Rikers Island. They used to have the tents outside called the SED program. And it was a drug program. And yeah, man, I don't know, man. I was in population. They told me pack up, we transfer you, and they brought me out there. And I was like, yo, why y'all put me out here? They're like, yo, nah, your classification's out. I said, but why y'all put me in a drug program? Right. And here it is, I'm smoked out on crack, but you can't say that to me. And I was in denial about it.
Right.
And when they put me in a drug program, I told them, I said, yo, I don't want to be here. This ain't for me. So they said, all right, we'll sign the waiver, and then we're going to get you out of here. So I signed the waiver, tell them I didn't want to be in there. And then they said, oh, but now you got to wait for a bed. So they made me stay in there because they tried to act like, I said, yo, what happened to the bed you just took me out of? They said, oh, now we already moved somebody in that bed.
I bet they did.
So they said, you got to wait for a bed to open up. Meanwhile, you got to stay here. And when I stood there, man, I started to learn about my addiction. I started to learn about addiction, period. You know what I'm saying? And I came into the knowledge of that.
Barlow, you said something, he said something back.
Nah, he put me in a circle because I used to have an attitude all the time because I didn't want to be there. And one day we used to come down in the circle. We was in the circle and he put a chair in the middle of the circle and he said, yo, sit in that chair. So I said, who, me? He said, yeah. So I sit in the chair in the middle of the circle and he went around the room and he said, yo, what do y'all see about this dude? And dudes was raising their hand quick because I didn't talk to nobody. I didn't mess with nobody. I didn't want to be there. I had an attitude. And dudes was like, yo, I see a fake tough guy. Yo, I see a crackhead, think he a gangster. They were saying all kind of stuff about me, right? So I'm looking, and I was feeling some type of way. Like, I'm like, yo, what's these dudes talking about? And then Barlow said to me, he said, yo, man, I'm tired of you coming in here to the group every day with your attitude. He said, I didn't put you in jail. You put yourself in. Your addiction put you here. And then he pulled out a bit of money, and he said, yo, man, I get paid to come in here and talk to you. He said, now do something about it. But I didn't put you here. He said, yo, now get out the circle. Get out of here. And when I left the circle, I was on my bed and I was thinking about what they were saying about me, about what they said they saw. And I just was laying, that thing was eating me for like 2 weeks. And then that's when I started taking the program serious. I started taking the information. I started doing the assignments. I started participating more. Yeah. I started getting involved.
So did you leave out from after that program?
I left out. I came home, and I signed up for LaGuardia College.
You went to college?
I went to college. And LaGuardia had a program, Cooney Catch program, and it was an ex-offender program. So one of the professors,
how did you find out about that?
My psychology teacher. Gotcha. I was in psychology, and I was A plus student.
Nice.
And my professor, Professor Long, he really liked it the way I used to spark conversations in the class to get everybody involved.
This is outside though.
No, yeah, I'm in college. Yeah, I'm in LaGuardia College. Right. And so the class was boring because he had a boring technique in terms of his teaching style. So I was able to identify that. So in order to get everybody involved, I used to always ask a question that was controversial so people could start debating. And he understood what I was doing. So one day he pulled me, he told me to stay behind after class, and he said, y'all want to thank you for what you be doing. He said, I know what you be doing. And he said, I thank you because you get everybody involved with that. He said, but now I want to do something for you. And he was like, yo, take this card and go to them, and I want you to do an internship there. You're going to do a paid internship there. And I said, okay. And I went over there, and it was an ex-offender program. And so,
isn't it great when somebody sees your potential, your talent?
Yes.
Isn't it great when
Yes.
somebody, like, you put that work in, and
Yes.
somebody like, yo, I see you, and they don't want nothing from you, and it's like,
He was opening up doors for me, man. So he sent me to there. I went there. I told him he sent me. Professor Long sent me and all that. They said, "Oh, Professor Long sent you." They hired me right away, and it was an ex-offender program. So now I used to do the intake when dudes come home from prison. They'll come there. I do the intake, and we help them either get housing, jobs, whatever they needed.
You hoping a whole transition now.
Yeah. And so now when
you transform lives.
So when the head of the program found out that I came from prison like 18 months earlier. He was like, yo, you want to go to Rikers Island? I was like, sure.
You was just throwing opportunities left and right to you?
Yeah. He was like, you want to go to Rikers Island? I said, sure. He said, yo, we're going to get you some ID, and you're going to go to Rikers Island. I want you to speak to the guys.
Wow.
So I said, okay. So they made me a Department of Corrections ID.
Wow.
I gets the ID.
That's crazy.
Our very first meeting, we goes back to the dorm that I left out of 18 months earlier with Barlow. We go to that dorm.
This is Barlow. He was
that pulled out the money on me. So my very first meeting, we go back to that dorm. So when we go into the dorm, I'm like, oh, dip. And my heart is pumping. I'm like, yo, we going. Sure enough, we go to the dorm. So now Barlow's running around, whatever doing what he's doing. So they call in the group, yo, everybody bring it down the group. The CO be doing that. So everybody's lining up. So then dudes is looking at me because I just left there 18 months ago. So they looking like, yo, that's Mark.
That's crazy.
So I had the Department of Corrections ID. I had a suit on. They was looking. They're like, yo, you a civilian? I'm like, yeah. They're like, what? So the CO realizing, the housing area CO. So he said, oh, this is going to be a good group today. So he started running around. Yo, everybody get up. Yo, bring it down for group. This is going to be a good group today because he's seen that I made the transition, came back.
That one talk in the program.
Yeah.
Talking to the program.
To the program. So we was holding a group. And Barlow talked. Barlow started the group off, and then he gave it to my director. But my director didn't know that I knew Barlow. That he did that. So when they gave the floor to me, I said to Barlow, yo, Barlow, you don't remember me? He said, yo, nah, I be dealing with mad prisoners every day. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's 50 men in the dorm, and I deal with these dudes every day. Like, wow, he said, no, remind me. I said, yo, you don't remember when you put me in the circle? And you pulled out the money and you said, yo, I get paid to talk to you, do something about it. I said, yo, I used to have the purple and white Adidas, man, with the Mike Tyson shirt. Yo, he looked at me. Yo, he started crying. He said, yo, my job is done. He said, yo, I could quit right now and I'm satisfied. Because as long as I touch one person's life, I did my job. And he was like, yo, he said, yo, I remember you, man. Yo, he was like, yo, man. Yo, he was just going crazy, like, wow, like looking at me like, he said, yo, you did it. I said, yo, you fronted on me, man. You told me, you motivated me. But you told me. I said, I never forgot that.
You did. It's in the book. I know about it.
Yeah. I never forgot that, man. And I used that. I used that for fuel.
People got to realize sometimes, man, you can touch one person, man.
Yeah.
One person is all you need to change, man. And that one person hopefully can change somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's how it goes. You can't change the millions and millions of people. I mean, you can, depending on who you are. But sometimes it's one person.
Just one person.
To another person, to another person. And sometimes you might not even see those changes that's happening.
Yes.
You might not even be around for them.
Yes.
So what do you think about your father, man? What he's been doing?
What he's been doing, I'm very happy and very proud to see him, writing the book. That was number one. Very excited to read that. And excited to see how many people is going out and buying it. And then him doing the minister and what he does now in the jails and stuff. It really makes
So
me
you
happy.
still currently minister?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And so how did that because you're his son. So how did that transform you? Because you're involved in that program yourself, aren't you?
yes.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
You trying to be secretive? I'm sorry.
No, I wasn't being
James
secretive.
Bond?
No.
Name drop, man. What's going on? What you got going on, man?
What I have going on?
Yes,
Well,
what you
I
have
have.
going on.
Well, I run the Black Student Union at my school, and then I do the fellowship initiative in partnership with JPMorgan.
In partnership with who?
JPMorgan
Yeah,
Chase.
man, you seen him all alone, man. You gotta speak up. Yeah. Nice.
So I mean, it really, like, going to that program, it really, like, kind of reminds me of my father, and, like, seeing the potential that his program has to grow to that level.
So you growing up, do you feel? At what point do you knew that you was a speaker? Because apparently he is. Because you see him speaking and you got the bug. Like, how do you just land in these situations? Because like you said earlier, a lot of times the DNA from where we're from is the DNA from where we are now.
I mean, I don't really classify myself as a speaker. I just speak when needed, and I think right now is, like, when I need to speak, because there's so much going on. But I never really, like, got it and was like, I wanted to be a speaker. But it was most likely when I wanted to start my club. I was just like, oh yeah, I want to do that to educate kids that look like me, and things like that. But I'm not really a speaker.
Everything that you're doing is making a transformation in everyone else's life. If you speak, you don't speak, the association that you're building, that's speaking. You have to say something to somebody for it to be put out to the universe and for it to become manifested, right? So you can just say hi to somebody, and that might be enough.
Yes.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So, what do you think about what your father has said tonight? Because he has said some real pivotal things in reference to his childhood. And, it's difficult to come out about the things you've been in your life to the world. So what do you think about that particularly?
I mean, it kind of, it just put him, like, for me, it put him into context for me. Like, any kind of questions that I had or wondered why he does this or why if I do this then he reacts like this. I know. And so I can't, and especially because I know, I can't really fault him for what he's doing, because I know that it's not really him. It's just, his situations that he's acting out of and different experiences that he doesn't want me to have. That's why he's getting on me.
Nice. And which has worked. It has worked, brother. Sorry. I don't know if you've been locked up or anything like that, but you seem to be a good kid, a good young man doing great things.
Thank you.
There was another question I had on my brain, but it kind of slipped my mind. But yeah, so you got this young man doing marvelous things, and how you feel about that?
I'm proud of him, man. I went to his school. He plays the keyboard and the piano, and I went to his school and he was having a performance, and I went to his school and it was a very warm and very it was very good to see, like, when the people, the faculty was like, yo, that's your son? I'm like, yeah. And it was like, yo, we love him. Like, everybody was saying the same thing about him. They was like, yo, we love him. Like, we love him. He's a good kid. And I was just looking at the feedback, and it made me so proud.
That's what I want to ask you. How do you feel he has raised you? Because he was raised totally different. So how do you feel his father abilities have been towards you? Because there are not a lot of fathers raising young men nowadays. That's what I wanted to ask. I apologize, Carl.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. Everything just goes back to the book for me, you know, because like reading, like before the book, I was like, you know, okay, because when he, I think when he went to jail, I was like 3.
Yeah, 3.
So I had like little bit of memories, and those weren't, bad memories at all about him, and then, he comes home when I'm like just going into middle school. So, I'm just like, okay, I'm happy. I'm excited.
Right.
And so like you miss the development years, like key development years.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, but I know it's not his fault. So I'm like, all right. But I still had positive male figures around me all the time. So, the lack of, I had a lack of my father, but the lack of like fathering energy and, masculine energy was always there. So like when he came back into my life, I was excited. And then, I wasn't like doing so good in like my grades and stuff like that. And then, he got upset. Like really upset. I'm like, I could just make it up. I don't even need to, So he was like, he got upset. So I was just like, okay, that's new. I learned that about him. So
he's
like,
passionate about you. He wants you up.
Yeah.
He really don't. He been there, man.
But I didn't understand that because like
Wow.
I would say in older understanding, I was just meeting him because I was 3 years old. You don't really remember much. All I remember is going to the park, fun things. You don't really remember any. I don't really remember any like stern moments or anything like that. So for me, it's like just meeting him, just learning him and things like that. So, I was like, oh, okay, so he don't play about that. So I just had to keep learning and learning, but always wondered, why you getting on me about that? That's not nothing. Why you getting on like,
Catching with the braids.
it just,
I'll make it up.
Right. And then after the book, it was like.
So let me ask another question. So you didn't really know much since you read the book?
No, not really. Like he's very honest, very straightforward. So, if there was ever like a situation or anything like that with him, or anything, if he has to talk to somebody. Or if road rage or anything like that, he'll just explain it. He'll be like, that's just me. You know what I'm saying? Because he just little tidbits, and I'll just take that and just be like, okay, so he has road rage. Okay, so he don't like this and that. So, but
road rage.
Yeah,
it's more than that, huh?
Yeah, it's much like, and then after reading the book. It was like, yeah. It just is like, okay, so this makes sense. Right. So now I really can't fault him for anything.
That's a good word to use more so because people like to fault people and accuse people. So you said it a lot. You don't fault him, which is a great word, man, because that makes him like kind of gives him like what's the word I'm looking for?
Leadway.
Yeah.
Because it still has to be a sense of accountability, right? You know what I'm saying? But you could only work with what you have. See what I'm saying? Yeah. And so if we damaged goods, you know what I'm saying? You trying to work through that and work with that. But the more that we deal with our trauma, the better we could get with presenting ourselves as being a better person.
I got something I want to go somewhere else up. So you carry 357s?
No, that was just one of the but I liked those was the joints that I liked it.
So you came home and you were doing mentorship programs and stuff like that, but you still had an addiction, right?
Yeah, to the violence.
I mean, but you also was doing good too.
Yeah, I was in the college going to. I fell when I was doing the Rikers Island. Mm-hmm. I fell from that and going to college.
That's what I was going to because you said you came across. You supposed to meet a pimp somewhere?
Yeah, my man was a pimp, and I went to the track. He called me one day, and I called him and I said, "Yo, where you at or whatever? No, I'm gonna come through and check you." He said, "Yo, I went to Brooklyn right quick to get some weed. I'm gonna come back. Meet me at the track."
You know what? 357 is a big gun, bro.
Yeah, Python. Yeah, nice one. Yeah,
That's a big gun to be carrying around.
That's not a little joint.
Brooklyn gun too. Yeah, 357.
Nice joint. So I go over there to the track, and he wasn't there. So his girls was out there. They knew me because he had like 10 prostitutes, and so sometimes he would call me and ask me to help him drop the girls to the track. So I would go to the hotel, and some of them would get in my car. He would have a car, and then we would bring them all to the track, and then I would drop them off for him, and then I'd break out. And then if he got to bring them somewhere else, I would pick them up. Right. But I didn't indulge in that type of environment. That wasn't my thing. That pimping and whole stuff or with prostitution or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I went to the track, and I was waiting for him to come. So I seen the girls. I'm like, "Yo, what up?" They're like, "Yo, trying to be back, whatever." Blah blah blah. I'm like, "All right, now I called them already. I'm good." Mm-hmm. And as I was standing out there, a van pulled up on me, and 3 dudes got out, and one of the dudes was like, "Yo, what you doing over here?" And I was shocked.
What year was this?
That was in early 90s, and
why were people was really bold back in the days, man.
But it was very interesting because I felt it was bold. I never had nobody tell me why was I standing somewhere. Yeah. So they said, "Yo," yeah. So they said, So I said, "What?" So they said, "Listen, we're gonna go around the block. When we come back, you got to be gone." I said, "All right."
They told you had to be gone.
I had to be gone. Yeah. So they said we're gonna go around the block. Oh no, they was gonna find out. They found out. But yeah, they found out. So yeah, so when they told me that, I got excited because But this was when I was working on Rikers Island. I'm working at LaGuardia College. I have action in a while. Yeah. So I'm living this job, counselor life, or whatever like that there. But I still got my ego. I still got my rep. So I got to uphold that.
Right.
So I had a 357 in my back pocket. While these dudes was telling me that, I had to get off the block or whatever they was telling me. So they was like, "Yo, we're going to go around the block. When we come back, you better be going." So I said, "All right, go around the block."
Crazy, man.
Yeah. So they went around the block. So when I seen them come back, I reached in my back pocket, I pulled out the gun. I stayed right there, waited for them.
So you had that big 357 on you, man. So
yeah, so they came back around, and I had the gun behind my leg. They wasn't even paying attention. I had a drink in my hand, and I had my gun behind my leg, and I was just standing there.
What's crazy about 357? It's only got 6 shots, man.
I don't like automatics, so I always play with either 38 or 357 because they only had 6 shots, and so you have to be accurate.
But you pull out a 357 is like.
Yeah, but it puts you under pressure to be accurate. You have to hit your target. You only got 6 shots.
I mean, but you don't have to when it go off. You pull out first of all, people want to run.
Yeah, but it's best to hit your target.
All right, we get it.
It's best to hit the target. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. So the guys came out. They went around the block. They came back and they got out the van. So I'm standing there and they walked up to me. And then as soon as the guy got in swinging distance, I smacked him with the gun. Bing! And I bust his eye open.
I bet you did.
And then I backed him down and I robbed all of them, took their jewelry, I took all their money. It was a prostitute in the car, went over to the car, took her money.
Damn, why you had to take her money?
Everybody got it. We in the process. This is the program. We working now. Yeah, we working now. I'm at work now. You put me, you know what I'm saying? This was after hours.
She in the car.
She with them though. You gotta, you know what I'm saying? You gotta get what they get.
Yo, that's crazy, man.
But
at least you hit him with the gun.
So long story short, man, I wound up back in prison.
Yeah.
And y'all go right back to the dorm that I was ministering, but as a prisoner again.
Mm.
And yo, man, them dudes clown me, man. Was talking about me, man, getting on me, man,
but
laughing at me.
You said the thing that I read in the book is that after you robbed them, they left.
Yeah, I told them go get your gun and come back.
Yeah, go get your gun and come back.
Yeah, and they came out with the police. Yeah, with the police.
The thing about the cops that you said that I know now, because nowadays cops, when they roll up, they usually got their sirens on. Back in the days, they ain't had any sirens.
Yeah, but they was behind it. What happened was when the guys came back around the corner, I thought they had got their guns. Mm-hmm. So when they came around the corner, I backed out and I was getting ready to shoot at them, and then the police was right behind them, coming with their light. They didn't have the sirens on; they just had the lights. Gotcha. So when I seen the light, I said, "Oh!" So I turned around, and I just started walking away. Mm-hmm. I'm walking down the block, and I'm looking, and they coming. So the guys jumped out, and they telling the cops, "There you go, right there."
Snitching on it. They put you day one.
Yeah, and then I threw the gun. Yeah. I threw the gun. The police ran up. They was like, "Hold it right there." And I'm like, "What? For what?" They're like, "Yo, hold it right there." I'm like, "No, nah." So I tried to keep walking. They're like, "Yo, I'm telling you, you better stop," because they said somebody got a gun. I said, "Well, you see, I ain't got no gun." I said, "Listen, I'm going this way." So I was trying to walk on them, and they was like, "Yo, listen, I'm telling you, we're gonna tell you one last time, stop." There was a gun involved. They said it was you. Stop. So I stopped. I said, "Listen, all right, what's going on?" So they said, "You got a gun?" I said, "No, I ain't got no gun on me." They searched me, they cuffed me, they put me in the car, and the dudes came to the car like, "Yeah, you bitch ass nigga. Yeah, what's up now?" Like, and I'm in the car handcuffed, and I was just looking at them smiling like, "Word, like, y'all niggas is telling." Yeah. And y'all started with me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
So you went back inside. Now, it caught my attention because now from the streets, and back in the days, usually the cops, they didn't put the sirens on. They just drove. You thought they was like, oh, they going to shoot you. You thought it was a hit.
Yeah.
They were so low key.
But I wound up I beat around. I beat the case in all reality because I was facing a lot of time because they had me with the assault at the first degree. They caught the weapon because I threw it over a fence under a car. And the dude in the garage was working on the car while the stuff was going on, and he called the police. "Oh, I think he threw something under here." And they went up and got the gun.
That's 357.
Yeah, they went and got the gun. So they charged me.
Come over like you said. I ain't seen no 357 over here.
But the end of the day though is I was humiliated. Right, I went back to the same dorm, but now as a prisoner again. Yeah. And I was humiliated, and so the head of my program came to the jail because he was doing the group, right. And he seen me in there, and he looked at me. So I said, "Listen, I need to talk to you." So he pulled me outside the dorm, and he said, "What's up?" I said, "Yo, man, can you get me out of here? I don't want to be in here." And he said, "Nah, I ain't gonna do that." He said, "Yo, face it. It's gonna make you a better man." And they kept me in there.
The truth of the matter is that what I don't like about the story is that it really wasn't your fault. I mean, to a degree, maybe you should have been on the corner where the pimps be, but you ain't start nothing.
I ain't start.
You ain't start nothing.
Yeah, but that was the beginning.
I'm just saying that because that's what people would say. Why you should have been there.
But you know what I understood about that? That was the beginning of the changing of the streets. When dudes could snitch on me like that and I could go to jail and y'all started it. So that's when I knew, like, okay, don't do nothing that got anything to do with the streets. Like, you know what I'm saying? So after that situation, I tried to like refrain from guns and try to stay away from guns and stuff like that. And I tried to stay away from environments where I needed to carry a gun because there were some places that I went that I knew like I just can't go around and just stand around. You know what I'm saying? Because I did stuff to people. You know what I'm saying? So I used to always have a pistol on me just for my security and my safety purposes. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you mentioned in your book that you shot a lot of people, man.
Yeah, quite a few. Yeah. I mean, it came with the program overall, but that was my profession. So.
Yes, you shot with a 357. I hope not, man. I won't want to get hit with 357, man. That's ugly. But so after that was the last time you went to prison?
I went to prison. I blew trial in 2012 to another gun charge, where I had a situation. I was working construction, making good money, and I had a great idea. I wanted to flip some money. So it was a dude, I ran into a dude up in the Bronx. He said he was getting money out of town and with e-pills or whatever, flipping e-pills. So I got 100 e-pills and I gave it to him and he ran off with my money. So when he ran off with the money, he deaded me. He deaded me.
The wrong dude.
Yeah, so,
you don't know no better, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, long story short, no, he knew me, but he was just thirsty and desperate, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I had a situation, I did something to his brother. And then they put a hit out on me. A friend of my family's was down in Maryland, and he was messing with a girl, and he happened to be in a house, and my name came up, but they didn't know that he knew me, and they was talking about they was putting a hit on me, They had some cousins down in Maryland. They was going to come up on the 4th of July, come to New York. The plan was the family member spot me out, showed them who I was in the crowd, and then they was going to run down and gun me down. And so this guy that knew my family was in the house, and they had plotting to murder me. And he's like, damn, like, I know this dude family. So he tells them, oh, yo, I got to go to the bathroom. And went in the bathroom and called my peoples like, yo, I'm sitting in Maryland. You won't believe this.
That's crazy.
They putting a hit on your cousin.
You know they put a hit on your father?
No, I didn't know.
He didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't share that.
You couldn't be here. If that dude would have had a conscience and realized that, yo, that's my man.
But that's how I got knocked with the gun. That on my last case. That's why I had the gun. To protect myself.
Gotcha, because you thought it was a hit on.
Yeah, so I wanted to be prepared. I actually had 2 guns that day. I had something. I had a big joint.
You was from like Trump back then.
But I put that one in the car, and I was walking around with a little gun. And what happened was a girl see my it was a fight. A fight broke out, but you know how they do a diversion fight break out over here. Somebody come run behind you and try to pop your head off. So a fight kind of like broke out over here, and I backed out, and I started looking around. And a female saw me with the gun out and called the police on me. I didn't know it. And
it's just crazy when you got that kind of mind. like you just people don't think like that.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? So you have stories on top of stories that.
Yeah.
He didn't know that part, did you?
No, he didn't know that.
Like, they try to knock your pops off, man. You wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for that phone call.
Yeah, they didn't know that. So I didn't share that with a lot of people and all that, but I just had to deal with the fact that I was back in prison at I'm 50 years old.
E-pills.
Yeah, crazy. 100 E-pills. And, he was supposed to sell it like 25 a pill down in, I think he was going to North Carolina, South Carolina, somewhere. I ain't really care.
That ain't nothing really.
Yeah, but it was just the principle, because I'm a man of principle. Like, it was just the principle that.
Reference to where he wanted to put a hit on you.
Yeah. Well, I did something to his brother.
Gotcha,
actually,
gotcha.
I did something to his brother.
So. Was that the last time you was in?
Yeah, I came home in 2019 off that bed. And I've been home now 5 years.
Okay. So, what is Mr. Marc Pringle doing now?
Right now, I got 2 companies, a cleaning company, and then I got another company. It's like a social program. I haven't really done nothing with it yet because I left New York and I established it in New York. But I'm about to do some other things. But right now, I go to the juvenile detention center in Long Island. Every Thanksgiving and every Christmas, and we bring them food, home cooked food, and then we go and minister to them. And then every 4th Sunday of every month, I do the Saturday and Sunday services, Protestant service in Otisville Correctional Facility in upstate New York.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I kind of minister to them up there. And I just put in for a slot in Green Haven to do the Protestant service over there. So I'm waiting for the clearance on that.
Let me know if you get up and I got my man K Bourne up in there. Shout out to K Bourne, man.
Oh, in Green Haven?
Yeah, light skin K Bourne. He's a jokes monster too. You probably know him. Whatever happened to this guy?
Who?
Oh,
it's in the book. You ain't reading the book?
I didn't get that part. I get that.
Yeah, well, the dude that sexually violated me, I looked him up in the Yellow Page. That's when Yellow Pages was still around. And so one day I was sitting, I just came up with the idea, I want to kill him. I want to kill this dude. You know what I'm saying? So that he won't do that to no other kid. And I went in the Yellow Pages and I found his last name, and I wrote it. I called every person with that last name, and I got his sister. Boom. And she remembered me. Oh, I remember you, little Marky from next door. I said, yeah. Where y'all live at now? And she told me, and I said, oh, I want to come visit y'all. Come visit the family for old time. And so she told me, and I went out there the day before I was supposed to go visit them to spot out the area so I could see how to get out of there because I was going to pop his head off in the crib. I went out there to visit her the next day. I had my gun on me. I had a stolen car. I parked it down the block around the corner, and I went to the crib, and I was going to kill him. And I went to the crib, and she was telling me about that. I was asking about the family. Yo, what's about this one? What about that one? Yo, where this brother at? Yo, where this one at? And we were small talking. And I was but I didn't get right directly to his name first because I didn't want her to alarm her or nothing. And then I asked her, yo, where's he at? She said, oh, nah, he passed away. And my heart just dropped. Boom. She said he passed away. So I stayed there for a little while longer and indulged in small conversation. And I said, listen, I got to go, but I'm going to visit you again or whatever, but I'm going to come back. And when I went outside, I started crying uncontrollably. And I was mad at God because he didn't give me the opportunity to kill him. Word. I was mad at God because he let that dude pass away without me actually taking him out.
Did he die from him?
I ain't even asked all that. He was just gone. Like, so for me, it was just like, damn, like, I was tight.
Did you ever, do the people know you now today?
No, they don't know.
So they're going to see this podcast. So, do you...
They still wouldn't know.
Still
probably. They probably wouldn't know. You know what I'm saying? Because, and then for me, that was the day that I got released from it, to be able to talk about it and everything. Because when I cried, I cried for like uncontrollably for like 40 minutes. I couldn't stop crying. And then as I was getting myself together, I was like, yo, God, like how you like did that. And then a peace came over me, and I heard the voice of God say to me, I let you live, so why would I let you kill him? All the stuff that you did. I forgave you.
That's what I wanted. Let's end off with that. You've been involved in the fellowship and been I was saying, I was a devout Christian. You was even going to church.
Mm-hmm.
When you was robbing stuff.
Yeah.
So how has the church been the benchmark? How has the church been supported you throughout all this?
Well, when you say the church, here's the thing about it. The Bible says work out your own salvation. Mm-hmm. And you got to get it for yourself. And so the thing that I wasn't doing, I wasn't applying the word. So you can go to church for 30 years and you could read the word for 30 years. You could go into church and shout, give your money. But if you don't try to seek to make the effort to live out the word, it doesn't mean nothing. And so through all of that, when I was going to church and still smoking crack and still sticking people up, I never really tried to apply the word to my life in terms of living it out, because that's the purpose of it, to live it out. Mm-hmm. And when I started doing that, that's when my life started changing. That's when it started changing.
So this you now, do you feel at peace now?
Yes. There's days when I feel it, and there's days when I feel annoyed because life be lifing. I feel frustrated sometimes. I feel like I be holding back on certain things. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, I try to push forth with the peace, like, you know what I'm saying, and move in peace.
You seem that peace to me.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm in a very good state because I'm growing and I've seen my growth, and I'm proud of myself, you know, to be in the state of mind that I'm in, because when I was in the street, it was a state of mind thing. It was a state of mind thing. And the thing that you got in your mind trickles down to your heart and you become passionate about it. Mm-hmm. And I was passionate about and now that I'm able to switch that around, I'm passionate about looking out for others. And especially my family, because a man's first ministry is his family first. Mm-hmm. And you're supposed to minister to your family before you run out here and start ministering to everybody in the world. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times we neglect to minister to our family because we're trying to be this great orator to everybody else, while your family's sitting there like, this dude, look at this dude.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, you know, for me, I'm just making the effort every day to get better. You know, Michael Jackson had that song, and Michael Jackson had it right when he said, I'm looking at the man in the mirror, I'm hoping to make a change. Mm-hmm. The change start with me.
It's probably one of the greatest songs of all time.
All times, yeah. But I never understood it. Mm-hmm. And as I'm growing, you know, when we look out in the world, you could always look in the world and find out what's wrong with it. But what are you doing about it? Are you the better person? And are you living a life that's affecting change? Are you setting an example that's a good example? Are you living a life of righteousness and integrity? What are you doing? Because we could always look out and find something wrong with somebody or something in the world.
That's what social media does. I learned about social media.
Yeah. But so we have to develop our own perception, and that's what the Word of God does for me. When you look at God, the word God as an acronym, it simply means good, orderly direction. That's it. And so with God, what we say, God is good all the time, and all the time, God is good. So in order, God is a God of order. When he put things in play, he put it in a certain order, and then direction. Direction gives you purpose. And so that's God's cipher divine, good, orderly direction. That's God. And so we made in the likeness and the image of God, and that's all he tries to do is give us that good, orderly direction to give our lives purpose instead of just wandering around and just going everywhere where the wind blows. See what I'm saying? And so for me, that's the path that I'm on, and I'm trying to help other brothers, sisters, whoever, just to see that perspective and just to try to lead them to the word, and then, get it for yourself.
I read something in your book which really struck me and stuck in my mind, that you didn't give up. And I tell, like, women out there, I tell them all the time, man, like, I could never imagine something like what happened with you happened to me, because I would not give up.
Yeah.
So I could relate.
Yeah.
But now seeing you and hearing you, I can see that you do now. You do care.
Yeah, you know why? Because we when you deal with when we get back to our nature, our nature is loving and caring because we made in the likeness and the image of God. But we take on this otherworldly nature that we feel like I have to be this way. I have to be tough. I have to be gangster. I have to let niggas know I don't play.
Right.
See what I'm saying? And nah, man. Love is the key, man. If everybody love one another, that through that love you get respect. See what I'm saying? Because I love you enough not to disrespect you. See what I'm saying? And so if I'm not going to disrespect you, then we got respect for one another. We got harmony. See, and that brings the peace to life. Period. But one of the greatest discords is that we always looking for something to find negative in the next person so we could just justify ourselves as being this type of person that we want to think we are.
Well, I would say that the invisible pain is now seen that you had. And it's acknowledged and it's understood. Scars may be there, but scars heal. And I hope that your pain that was invisible, that we all can see now, I hope that it's healed and that you're whole.
Yes.
And with you, what's up, yo? So
the youngin.
You said something about TF. What was it? TFY.
TFI, the Fellowship
TFI.
Initiative.
So what's that? What's the acronym about again?
The Fellowship Initiative. Yeah. So I do TFI. That's the Fellowship Initiative, in partner with JPMorgan Chase. It's a really good program for Black and brown boys that need, even if they don't need help for college, they have really good connections, so you can actually work there after college. You can also work there during college, and they help you with the college application process. They do SAT prep, which is you have to pay for it, but when you go to TFI, it's free. And you just build community with people that look like you, and that's very important to have that.